in Italian fashion, I have to say, hello, everybody. Anyway, I'm going to tell my floxing story because, like I just said, basically, I've gotten a lot of requests to hear about it, and if there are any old videos, because I typically tell the story that I took 3 pills, I ended up in the hospital, and then I was on hospice. But there's a lot more to it, and there's a lot to say. That's why I don't have much in my videos. Plus, it's a little, traumatizing to talk about. So, where do I begin? I could probably talk about this for 3 hours, but I'm going to try to get this down a little amount of time so I can answer any questions. So, April 2021, I had a UTI, and I hadn't had a UTI in at least a decade. So I wasn't somebody that had recurring UTIs. I wasn't even somebody that was sick ever. I just went to the doctor for my yearly visits. So I got a UTI, and I was prescribed Cipro, and the organism came back as E. coli, which most women's cultures are E. coli. And I was prescribed Cipro, and I said to my doctor at the time, is there anything I need to know about this antibiotic, because it seems a little strong to me, and I don't do well with antibiotics generally. Like, again, I never really got sick, so I didn't take them, but when I did, they'd really kick my butt. Hi, Greg. Hi, Derek. And my doctor said, nope, there's nothing you need to be aware of. Cipro is very safe and effective. My practice uses it all the time. So I said, okay. I went and I took it, and first pill okay, second pill okay, third pill is when I started having pain in my thighs in the top, and I started having pains in my legs and in my heels. And prior to this, I worked out 7 days a week. I know people say 7 days a week, but yes, 7 days a week. That was my therapy. But I worked out 7 days a week, and I was very healthy. And I thought, it couldn't be for me working out today, because I didn't work out once I started taking the antibiotic. And my husband said, oh, maybe you're just overdoing it. You did a lot today. Okay. So I'm like, ooh, the pain kept getting worse and worse. I'm like, why am I getting more sore and I'm not doing anything additional? So I was brushing my teeth, and I felt something like a pull in my leg. And I was like, what the hell was that in my left leg? I was just standing there brushing my teeth, and I felt it pull, and then I felt like this weird pain go all the way up my leg. And I was like, this is really weird. What the hell is that? And then my foot got numb. My whole foot got numb. And I had to put my husband to bed. I was his primary caretaker. So I said, this is really strange. And I had to put my husband to bed, and I kept saying, my foot's numb. Something's weird. Like, I don't feel well. And I said, I'll just put you to bed. I'll go to bed, and then tomorrow I'll be fine. Well, I woke up the next morning, and I attempted to step out of bed and almost fell, and said, oh my God, I can barely walk now at all. What the hell has happened? So I go to the emergency room, and I tell the doctor, I don't know what happened. I just know I woke up and I'm having problems walking, and the only thing that I've done different is take an antibiotic. And the ER doctor said, are you taking Cipro? And of course, panic on my face. I'm like, yeah, what do you mean? Why? Like, panicking. And he's like, do you know what a black box warning is? No, I don't know what that is. So that's the day I became informed what a black box warning was, and kind of what it was for Cipro. He said it was just about Achilles heel tendonitis. And for me not to panic, to go home and take NSAIDs, Motrin, and rest. And for anyone that knows anything about fluoroquinolone toxicity, NSAIDs are not something you should be taking. But I did, around the clock, 800 milligrams. Yeah, I see the sad face, Haley. I know, I didn't know any better, and I was getting worse, and I'm like, resting and not doing anything. I don't get it. And then about a week later, I woke up, and now I had no feeling in my hands. But in between then, I started getting all these weird symptoms, like flames shooting out of my feet. I would sit up and grab my toes like I thought my toes were on fire, but they actually weren't hot at all. I couldn't take a shower because just the water hitting my head was like fire, was like somebody was stabbing me and I was being electrocuted. This is all happening in between. And then May 3rd, I'll never forget it. I woke up. I could not feel my hands at all. At all. Like, I tried to open cranberry juice for my husband, and like my hands wouldn't work. And I'm like, oh my God. So I go back to the hospital, and the hospital's like, oh, we want to check you for MS and maybe having a stroke, because my left side was much worse than my right. That's also the side of my left leg that's bad. They checked me for everything and said, it's neuropathy, go see a neurologist, rheumatologist. So I'm just going to skip past those parts because they really frustrate me because they did nothing for me, neurologist or rheumatologist. And then at this point, I became a frequent flyer in the hospital. I was there all the time, emergency rooms. I was admitted 3 times to the hospital. One of the times I was admitted because my sugar was 50 pounds. 50 pounds. My sugar was 50. What was happening to me over this time was that I was becoming sensitive to everything, and I didn't understand why. My body was shutting down. Everything was becoming stiff. And the people that would take care of my husband would say, like, what are you going to be like 2 weeks from now? Because my progression was so rapid that, you know, I couldn't stand at all. Like the gait, dizziness. I'd have to lean against the shower. Luckily, I have a handicapped shower. I could just lean against a shower myself. And then the next week, I couldn't even stand. So I was sitting in a shower chair, showering myself. The next week, I couldn't lift my hands above my head. The next week, I couldn't even put a regular shirt on. They had to be like these pajama tops. This is week to week to week. And I was just getting weaker. Every time I went to the emergency room, I had lots of MRIs. I had gadolinium. I had NSAIDs. I took NSAIDs through the IV, like Toradol, because they were saying I was having migraines because of my head pain. Again, I didn't know any of this, none of this. My food list kept getting smaller and smaller because I kept having reactions. And people say, what are you talking about when you say reactions to food? So this is a big one for me. So it doesn't mean reactions like hives. It was reactions, well, I did get hives and I did get rashes. It was reactions like I would eat something and brain fog, excruciating pain throughout my whole body. My whole body would have pain. I would get like this pounding in my head, whoosh, 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 and I would lose all control of my body. And like I try to make it to the bed to lay down because these reactions were so severe, like light, sounds, everything when I would eat. And then I would just lay there and I would wait for hours and I wouldn't eat. So I ended up seeing a functional neurologist, functional medicine. So I had to pay for them out of pocket. They were not Western medicine. And the functional neurologist said, I want to check for an aberrant form of Guillain-Barré. I want to check for myasthenia gravis. And I said, okay. And 2 hours later, she called me and she said, actually, Talia, I'm not going to do any of the stuff I said. You've been floxed. I talked with some colleagues and they said you've been floxed. And I said, I've been what? Can you spell that? Because I don't know what that is and I need to look it up. And she said, you've been poisoned by a fluoroquinolone antibiotic. So what do? I go right to Google and I Google and I find Mateo, Cookie Monster. He's the first video I saw. I said, oh my God, I am going to die. Oh my God, because it's all these stories on the internet. But me being me, nope, I was going to defy all the odds. None of this was going to happen to me and I was going to fight this, blah, 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 blah. Well, let me tell you, nobody wins against a fluoroquinolone because it didn't matter what I was doing. It didn't matter how much I was resting. I remember waking up in the middle of the night with my walker walking because my legs would go numb, and I said, if I don't keep moving, I'm gonna freeze up and I won't be able to walk anymore. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. My body was shutting down no matter what I did. I was so frozen that I couldn't even sit on a toilet to pee. I'm just being like totally honest. And so I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to tell my story. You guys know that when I actually speak, I say it all out. But I couldn't even sit on a toilet to pee. So I had to stand there while someone would hold a cup for me because my body was so stiff. And I know some people go the other end where they're like so hypermobile. Not me. I was like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz, having all these food reactions. And I remember reading somebody's story that they were sitting there with their eyes shut, praying to God that they wouldn't die. That ended up being me. My vision was shot. I went to the eye doctors 3 weeks after getting flocks. I had just been to the eye doctor before I took Cipro. My vision changed 3 weeks later. Can you believe that? 3 weeks later, my vision changed, and it hadn't changed in 8 years. I had the same script. My vision changed. I had double vision, blurry vision. My eyes would shake all the time, so everything was like this in front of me. I had to wear sunglasses. My ears, ringing in the ears. It would sound like water was in my ears, like whoosh, all these sounds. It was like everything was coming at me from every angle. I couldn't move, and even to just like be frozen, I was still being tortured because I couldn't see, I couldn't eat, I couldn't swallow. I would choke on my own spit, and nobody could help me. Nobody. So I was down to like in my 70s at this point. I was 125 pounds. April, I took the fluoroquinolone. July, I was using a walker full time. I spent my birthday, August, in the hospital. I could no longer walk. I walked myself out to the car with my father. I know you're watching, Dad. I can't even say I walked myself out. They rolled me out, and it took everything to step into my car. And I said, this is the last time I'm ever going to drive in my car. And it was. Even as a passenger, I haven't been in my car since. Bed-bound, wheelchair-bound. Of course it's going to happen. This is why I don't tell my story. But I don't tell my story in this detail. And I came home. I was having reactions even to water. Yes, even to water. I know some people say that it's crazy, but it's not. That's called mast cell activation. So if anybody's watching out there and you have reactions to water too and people think you're crazy, you're not. It's called mast cell activation. It is the worst form when you can't even drink water. So before I left the hospital, they read me my last rites. And I FaceTimed my sister so she could be there. And then I came home. And then I had all my friends to my house to read my last rites. I begged for feeding tubes in the hospital. They wouldn't give me one. I didn't know what else. I didn't know how else I was going to eat. I was thinking if I bypassed my mouth since I was choking, that a feeding tube would have helped me. Looking back, maybe not, because I have mast cell. It would have blown me up. I couldn't even get saline in an IV. It was like I could not take anything into my body. It just fought it. So, sorry. Well, at least it's a release for me. Letting it out. So I came home and I had all my friends and family, and I had the priest come to my house now so I could have everybody there. And the priest said, as he read my last rites, "Are you scared?" I said, "No." He said, "I'm so proud of you that you made peace to go home." I said, "I'm ready for this to be over. I'm ready to go see my grandmother. This is like nobody should have to live like this." I would cry in the middle of the night, "Somebody give me mercy. Somebody help me. If I could just like have a heart attack or something, like that would be great of the universe just to take me out. Like, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And the day I had my last rites read, my husband was so distraught. He called 911 again. And I went to the hospital again. We begged for a feeding tube again. They told me no. Said to come back in 3 weeks when my organs would start failing, because by their blood work, at this point, I forgot to mention this to you guys, I hadn't eaten in 4 weeks. 4 weeks, no food, nothing, no food, nothing. They said that my organs would start failing in 3 weeks, and to come back, and then they would give me a feeding tube. So I said, F that. I'm going to go home, and that's it. And there, I went on hospice. At that point, now I'm 60 pounds. And this time, I don't really remember much being on hospice. I was just starving to death. My stepkids came to see me, and I've told this before that, you know, I say I was ready to go. Trust me, I was. And before I got sick, I would say to people, like, I would think a bit differently. Like, you keep fighting, you keep fighting, you keep fighting, but now I understand when people can't anymore. I get it. But my stepchildren came to see me, and I was telling my stepdaughter, I'm never going to see you get married. I'm never going to see you graduate college. This is such bullshit. I'm 41 years old. I'm going to die. Like, this isn't right. And whatever happened when they came to see me, I say the little flicker, even though I was dying, I had the little flicker. They ignited this flame. And my husband kept calling the doctor saying, she has mast cell. They kept doing the testing correctly, not freezing urine and doing whatever. They didn't do my test correctly and kept saying I didn't have mast cell. So my husband said, just give her mast cell drugs. You say they're benign. So she's going to die anyway. She's on hospice. What's the harm? Remember, I couldn't even drink. So I took like one sip with 1 drop of chromoline sodium in it. And it took me a whole week. I couldn't sit up. People had to sit me up. I couldn't breathe. I was like that because I was literally starving to death. Hospice, I had oxygen tank. Like, it wasn't pretty. And in 1 week, I was eating an Ensure pudding in 1 week. Because Ensure pudding could slide down my throat. Okay. From taking sodium cromolyn, which is a mast cell stabilizer. So while that helped me with my mast cell, I'm still floxed, like still screwed. But that at least got me to be able to start eating. And then I said, well, if I can have Ensure pudding, chocolate at that, so anybody that knows anything about mast cell, I can't have that now. I really think, as weird as this sounds, that month of no food actually helped my body in some way. Just, they say, you know, your histamine bucket was full. My bucket was overflowing, clearly. I couldn't take anything. And I said, well, if I can eat this pudding, why don't we try baby food for me to swallow? And I couldn't do that. I had a reaction to it, but I could swallow it. So then we tried pureeing like human food. Let's try sweet potatoes. Nope, I couldn't figure out why it was having such bad reactions to food. And then I found, rest in peace, Beth O'Hara from Mast Cell 360. That's where I learned about histamine foods and oxalates and salicylates and all that other stuff. So she taught me how to make my food, how to freeze it. She passed away last week, so it really hit hard for me because she's a big reason why I'm still here today. Even though I have 6 foods, it's still 6 foods, and at one point I had none. Sorry, just need a minute. So, I started eating, and I didn't really gain any weight. until I was able to incorporate protein, chicken. I was just eating like pureed cauliflower, asparagus. Yeah, I need a tissue. Could you get me a tissue? Suzette, can you have a tissue? I'm sorry, I'm asking my aunt for a tissue. Can I have a tissue? Can I have a tissue? Sorry. Sorry, guys. This is my life. This is reality. I can't even get the tissue by myself. Thank you. Ugh. Tissue, I hardly know you. Take a break. I love you guys. So, I stayed on hospice for 9 months, and the way that hospice treated me is not the way hospice typically does. I had this nurse who just wouldn't let me go, so to speak. When you're admitted to hospice, it's very eerie. They say, you know, like they give you the drugs, and then they say, you know, when they pass, we'll be there in an hour to collect the body, like you're just not a human. It's weird, even though they are very humane. I don't want to say that, but I had this nurse that wouldn't let go, and she's a big reason why I'm still here. Another UTI, they do a urinalysis. Hospice doesn't do that kind of stuff, but they did for me. Open sores, they clean my sores, like, and 9 months later I transferred to palliative care because sometime, February I think it was, 2022, I tried to start moving my legs and to move. And I think you guys have seen the video of me in those donut pajamas with the Teds trying to take my first walk, first steps. And then, I don't know, it just progressed from there. Like once I knew I could take some steps, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not gonna go after all. And then since then, I got the best advice I could ever get, which was to focus on being floxed and focus on mast cell activation syndrome. And that has gotten me to this point today. So for a floxy protocol, there isn't much that I actually do. Even from Dr. Pipa, we all know, like, he's the expert. He told me as well that I need to calm down mast cells before I could start any floxing protocol. So that's what I am trying to do now. I tried physical therapy last year. I think you guys saw some videos. Didn't go so well. My body's still really stiff. My body's still stiff now. It didn't go so well. Trying everything in the last year, and it just felt like failure after failure after failure, and it was very discouraging. Then I found NAET. I just put a video out about that. And Broody pads, allergy elimination technique. I swear that has helped me with viruses and foods. So I think I saw a little bit of a turn. If you guys saw my video a couple months ago when I took a peptide. So the peptide, I gained a little bit of weight when I took the peptide. And after the peptide, I stopped. And, you know, I've been doing all these other things. Again, NAET, Rife treatments. It's like through electrical stimulation. It's really weird stuff to explain. I swear it works. And I will be starting another round of peptides next month. Peptides specialize on mast cell. And then I can go and focus on the floxing stuff. So I have people reach out to me all the time that are floxed. And they have mast cell. I know they do. And I tell them, and it's very hard for them to hear those words, like, focus on mast cell first. Your body will not accept any form of treatment if your mast cells are fighting. fighting water, fighting everything. You've got to focus on that first, because when we get flocks, it's like, I heard I'm supposed to take magnesium. Give me magnesium. Give me glutathione. And people just get worse and worse. The mast cell gets worse. So that's advice I always give to people. If you have mast cell, deal with that first. So here I am. You guys have seen my therapy, and I've been like rapid improvement with therapy. I still cannot get out of bed by myself, but for some reason my legs are stronger than the rest of my body. So you see, I've taken steps. I've even, done the dancing. And that's where I am today, trying to get to the story quickly so I can answer some questions. I'm trying to read them as they go through. The peptide I took was thymosin alpha-1. It is now banned from the FDA, but you can still get it. But if you have mast cell, thymosin alpha-1 should not be the first peptide that you take. There's something else called TB4 frag. I will not be taking thymosin alpha-1, at least not at the beginning, in my next round of peptides. Other thing I can say is with physical therapy, I have to push back a lot with them and remind them that I'm not normal. That's very hard for physical therapists to get through their head. Like, it's not that I'm being lazy and not that don't want to do things. I know when to push my body and when not to. So for all of you that asked me about physical therapy, that's my advice to you too. Like, you have to push back and don't care what anybody says. Like, I'll tell you the story when I was admitted at one of the best hospitals in the country, and they said they were going to give me a feeding tube, and there was a changeover in doctors, and the next doctor came in. It was a man. Women getting treated by male doctors is different. And he said, I'm not giving you a feeding tube. I'm like, I'm not eating. Like, what am I going to do? He said, I'm going to send this team in to come see you. And the team was a bunch of psychiatrists. And I was like, are you guys kidding me? And they're like, we're here to talk about your anorexia. Say what? I thought my head was going to pop off. I just yelled, get out of my room, get out, get out of my freaking room. And the advice I can give everybody, and I know it's hard, is I stuck my ground the whole time. I know Cipro made me sick. I don't care if you believe me. I kept saying that. I don't care. And when I went to hospice, hospice said, we believe you. The first time somebody said they believed me. So I just kept saying, I don't care what you say. Even when I went back to my doctor and told her, this made me sick, here's the FDA paper, she still argued with me, still said that she was going to prescribe it because no one had had a reaction like me. Even though I'm holding the paper in front of her that says, last resort only. Actually, the words are, when no other treatment options are available. Didn't want to hear it. It just blows my mind. But I never let up, ever, and never let anybody make me think I was crazy. If they thought I was crazy, then kick rocks. Like, I don't even want to, I couldn't even. I was so focused on saving myself, I couldn't even let that energy into my space, because I would have never survived. That negative energy is so toxic. You guys have probably seen me on the news, my local news, Boston 25 News, then on News Nation, then on Scene TV. I've tried to turn this whole thing around and become an advocate for other people to not end up like me, to speak your truth, to share your stories, because from the top, nobody's paying attention to us. And if we want change, we have to do it from the bottom up. And the only way people can do that is if we speak up and make a lot of noise. And that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I have nothing else to lose. Like, really. Anyone else in my situation, what do you guys have to lose too? Nothing. Everything's been taken from me. Literally everything. So, here I am. I need to blow my nose. Sorry. And I do want to say, Like, I've gone through so much stuff you guys seen lately. All my advocacy work, all my videos are done in my hospital bed with my iPhone. I have EMF sensitivity. I can't use a laptop. My eyes are still crap, but I'm close to my phone so I can see. Just because this is how much it means to me. And you guys have seen with the ICD-10 codes, that happened. Now I'm working on, you can see over here with my Floxy family, informed consent from the FDA. So that would say informed consent would be, I have seen informed consent before, actually signed it once. You go to the doctors and they have to tell you the warnings about the drug. So you're aware and you can decide whether to take it or not take it, instead of being told that it's safe and you take it and end up like me. So for all of you out there who are on the live, please sign the petition. Please send the petition to every single person you know. We need like 50,000 people to do anything, to try to petition the FDA. So we really need to get those signatures in there. Now I'm rambling because I'm trying to think of all the things I want to say. I don't know. You guys can ask questions now. I'm just going to bloop and watch the questions go at the bottom and answer your questions. Don't see any questions. Maybe you guys were saying them when I was talking, but I was just like, how can we help? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, mast cell whooped my ass. If I had nutrition, I love you guys too. If I had nutrition, I think this would be a totally different story. I definitely do. I think this lack of nutrients is really hurting me, because like, I don't know if you guys can see that, but like even my fingernails have like all these lines on them. Like, I'm so nutrient deficient. My vitamin D is, you can't get lower than that, because I eat the same 6 foods for the last 3 years. But I'm still fighting. So what would you recommend for people to help advocate for their loved ones? I would recommend going to appointments with your loved ones so the loved one doesn't have to be alone. I've been in many appointments alone and have to fight with the doctor myself, which, trust me, I had no issue doing that. But it's very different when you're fighting a doctor and you've got the cavalry with you. They react differently. I would say bring people to your appointments, advocate for them. I know so-and-so for so long. I know this isn't in their head. You need to help them. Those are what the people would say for me, my husband, my father, my sister. I would bring the FDA papers with me. I would bring documents on fluoroquinolone toxicity syndrome and say, I don't care if you believe me, it's right here. But I think the biggest thing you can do is go to those appointments, support your loved ones, even if you don't understand what they're going through. It's really hard to understand why someone can't drink water. It's just water. There's nothing in it. How could you have anything? How could you have a reaction to that? Just be supportive of them and know that floxing damages your mitochondria. So there's a lot of emotional trauma we face, a lot of things we can't even control, like anxiety. I've always had anxiety, but the anxiety you get when you're floxed, this is like a whole other thing that happens. Like, you cannot control it, and it's very frustrating for your loved ones when you're having anxiety. Oh my God, you start panicking about everything, and it's like, oh, here we go again, right? So be with your loved ones, support them, and please stick through them throughout it. That's what happens to a lot of us. People just can't stick around. We stay sick for so long, and it's hard to stick by someone that's this sick. When they draw a ton of blood, yes, yeah. Make an effort to see them. Does anybody want to speak? Feel free to speak. I know people that are on the panel.
Hi, I'm
Hey.
on. I figured I'd jump in and give you a breather. Everything you said was true and right. I brought my mother and my aunt with me because it wears you down. The doctors don't believe you. The doctors don't listen. It's like they say you're depressed. That was their favorite thing to me. You're in pain because you're depressed. And I'm like, no, I'm depressed because I'm in so much pain. And it actually took one doctor as I was leaving the hospital that had seen me with my family and other doctors that gave up on me. It was my third time being kicked out. And he's like, I just want to do one blood test. And I'm like, I'm dying cellularly. Nobody will listen. He took the blood test, and it turned out I had two forms of mono and T cell lymphocytosis. And he immediately got me to the right doctors, and my family came with me. But if it wasn't for my family, I don't think I'd be here.
Yeah, yeah. We need that human connection because that's what we lose so quickly. The chronically ill people lose everything. So just having that connection and, for the question, like, what can you do to support? Sometimes you don't have to say anything, just be there. Your physical presence being there when a loved one is going through so much pain, it meant so much to me. My stepson, I don't know if anybody's seen The Big Bang Theory, but there's a song in there called Soft Kitty. And my stepson, I remember him, when he came to say goodbye to me, he was holding my hand and he didn't say anything except sang Soft Kitty. And it's a song that's in the show when you're not feeling well. You sing that song to the person, and that meant the world to me. Soft Kitty song. So, yeah, I would say never stop, never give up always stand your ground, because I'm going to tell you another story. I went for endoscopy because swallowing. And now I know it's neurological in the vagus nerve. Fight for yourself, that's right. In the vagus nerve, but they're always looking for something mechanical. So I had a endoscopy, and I saw that some of the drugs have fluoride in them that they give you, like Versed has fluoride in it. So I said, the anesthesiologist came over to talk to me, and I said, oh, so you have an endoscopy too. So I said to them, do not give me Versed when I have the endoscopy. And I said, I don't care if you believe me or not. I've been poisoned by an antibiotic, and I will not take anything that has fluoride in it. I am the patient. These are my rights. And if you do not agree with me, I will not have this endoscopy. I don't care. So the anesthesiologist actually said, whispering to me, probably too afraid to say it out loud, whispering, she believed me because her friend almost needed a liver after taking Levaquin. So I went in there, and she said, just know that there's a chance that if something goes wrong, I might have to give you general anesthesia. And of course, I was like, oh my God, not general anesthesia when I'm floxed, right? Especially that early on. And so I went, and they rolled me in, and she said, no Versed. And I heard this woman, her little snarky comment, when they started putting the medicine in my IV, I started screaming, the pain, it hurt so bad. And that nurse said, well, if you would have taken Versed, and then the anesthesiologist said, Mary, that's not nice. And that's all I remember, and then I was out and I had the endoscopy. But it's just things like that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I never stop fighting for myself. And I just pray that all of you guys do that too. Anyone that's floxed, keep fighting for yourself. If you have loved ones that are floxed, keep fighting for them. Don't give up on them. Please don't give up on them. And help us through stuff like this, the petition, through all the help you did with the ICD-10 codes. Like, I can't thank you all enough. You have been so supportive of me, of this journey. And I feel like you guys are my family. You're my, I don't know, another set of my family. I feel so close to some of you, more than I do than my own family. And the support is just, it's just so much to take in a good way. I mean that. I know. I love you too, guys. It's what keeps me going. So support your loved ones. It will keep them going, hopefully. Love you too.
You're doing amazing.
Thank you. I say when you're flocked, if you see my videos, step one, get your mind right. All I
Yeah.
kept saying is, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I had sunglasses on for a whole year. I had a doctor tell me I was rude because I had sunglasses on and I wouldn't look at him. And I just said, excuse me? Like, he wasn't going to make me feel bad. I said, excuse me? I have sensitivity to light, to sound, and I can't look at you because I can't turn my freaking neck since I've taken Cipro. Like, no, you're not going to make me feel that way. No, Dad, if you're on, you remember that rheumatologist, right? He said I was rude because I didn't turn in his direction. I couldn't. To this day, I still have to have people, like, sit in front of me because it hurts to turn my neck. But fight, fight, fight. Look at me. I shouldn't be here today, and I am. So you never know what can happen.
You got this. You're doing amazing. Now, you have to fight. You have to stand up for yourself because nobody else is going to.
Right. That's right. Grace, what's next on the agenda? Do you mean for my advocacy or my health? My advocacy, I'll say, is this, change.org. Please sign the petition. Send it to every single person you know. And by the way, you don't have to donate money. I don't know why change.org does that. Like, they ask you for $3, $8, whatever. You don't have to do that. Just sign the petition, send it to everybody you know to try to get at least informed consent on fluoroquinolones. After that, we're trying to get a Redbubble shop going with some fluoroquinolone toxicity gear. I'm going to need some PJs. I can't put my hands in regular clothes yet. And then, of course, everybody, drum roll, Fluoroquinolone Toxicity Awareness Day, October 22nd. So we're working on that too, but there's just so much stuff going on. Good point. Report all your reactions to the FDA, all of them. We don't have any ICD-10 codes till 2025, so all we have is the FAIR system. So make sure you report your adverse effect to MedWatch. This is something else you can do for a loved one. If your loved one's too sick, do it for them.
Remind everyone they're thrown out about every 6 months. It takes about 15 minutes to fill out. And you're supposed to have dates and everything in there, but you don't have to be exact. No one's, they don't really read them. You just go in a computer. But every 6 months they're thrown out, so I have to redo it every 6 months.
Yeah, Anna's saying MedWatch. So if you go to my profile in TikTok, it's my link tree. I actually have a spot that says how to report your reactions. You just click on it and it brings you right to MedWatch. So, and then just report your adverse reaction. So that's advocacy wise, what is next. Physically wise for me, I'm going to keep doing physical therapy. Whoops, my bad. I swell up, I have a lot of pain, but I keep doing it because I have to get out of this bed. I gotta get out of this bed. So I'm going to continue with physical therapy for as long as they'll give it to me. I am working with a doctor. I was working with Dr. Pipa, so I took a break because of this mast cell stuff. So working with a peptide doctor out of California, who is amazing, who will continue my peptide work. I will also continue NAET therapy and Rife treatments. I saw someone earlier mention Reiki. I'm all for trying that. That's one I haven't tried either. I'll try that. Those are things that I'll be doing health-wise in the near future. And whatever happens, Grace, with what we're working on. So, yeah, bless my PTs. I have really good PTs this time. Actually, the woman that you see in the videos with me, the one dancing, she came last time when I was not in good shape. This is an interesting story about her. And I told her, she said, what do you want your goal to be? And I said, I want to get out of this bed. She, you want to get out of bed? Get out of the bed. She just yanks me out of bed. I was in bed 5 days, couldn't move after that. She wrecked me so bad because that was her first visit with me and she didn't understand. So as we worked together more and she saw how hard I was pushing myself, I think she had more respect for me. I respected her more. And when I got approved for physical therapy this time, I actually requested her. So when she walked through my door, I'm not living at home still. You guys probably saw that video last year. I had to leave my house. But anyway, me and my husband are living separately right now because of health, not because of anything else. I requested her, and she came back, and I said, well, looky what we have here. I said, you know I requested you, right? So we're like little besties now, and you'll see that in my video. She's the physical therapist that dances. The occupational therapist is the one that you do like hand and arm work. But it just goes to show that, you know, like I still can't get out of bed myself. I still don't have the strength to do that. So I'll focus on one thing at a time. My leg's moving. So, yeah. I would love to go back home one day, but one thing at a time. Gain some weight. When my my NAET treatment are done, yeah, I think it's recorded. I think they record them all. Anna, I'll look into that. When my NAT, oh my God, I can't talk. I'm getting tired. When my NAET treatments are done, I will then be able to try new foods. So that will be a game changer. But I'm like on step 4 of 15. But I do have good news, guys. I should have said this at the beginning. I sent a video, I posted it this week, I think, of my 83 pounds. But it was really last week, but I didn't post a video till this week. I'm 84 pounds. I weighed myself today. I gained 1 pound in 1 week. How? Maybe it's through the NAET that's supposed to help me absorb my nutrients better. So I'm 84 pounds. Good news. So, yeah, I just need to gain like 40 back, but I'll get there. It's funny, people say to me, like, what's the first thing you want to do if you were miraculously got better? And my answer was, I want to go to the gym. It's crazy. I want to go to the gym. The gym was always like therapy for me. And they're like, no, you can't say gym, say food. Because I said, okay, I'll have some pizza, a french fries, or a donut. Donuts are like my favorite thing in the world. So you probably saw my video that time crying. I wanted a freaking donut. It's very hard to be around people eating when you can smell that food, and I'm stuck with my 6 foods. But I had a therapist tell me, instead of looking at the food like you hate it, look at the food and say, thank you for keeping me alive. Those 6 foods, as much as I hate them, thank you for keeping me alive. So that's what I say when I eat. And I hear everybody else eating their food, and I just want to scream and throw a fork at somebody, to be honest, but that's how I have to survive. Does anybody have any questions? Again, I thank you all for your support. I cannot thank you enough. You are what has been keeping me going this last year, especially. I posted videos and you guys are like, go, 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 go. And I just like, I have to keep going. Tell them to eat out of the room. Yeah, don't eat that in front of me. What, what's the, what are the foods? My 6 foods. I have a lot in common with other people that can't eat a lot of foods. Chicken. I know a lot of people that can only eat chicken. Asparagus, cauliflower, gluten-free, Bob's gluten-free steel-cut oats, blueberries, and then coconut milk. The coconut milk is used to puree all my food, because can you imagine pureeing chicken with no liquid? So those are the 6 foods that I eat, and I eat the oatmeal 3 times a day, and then in between I have chicken and asparagus, and then chicken and a cauliflower. That's how I do it. By the way, I don't know anybody that's anorexic that eats 5 times a day, so to those doctors that said I was anorexic. No green beans. I cannot. I know. My friend Nancy says green beans. I used to eat green beans every day. I love green beans so much. They are so high in histamine, Nancy. I can't eat. I can't eat green beans. Are there any spices and seasoning okay? No. I tried parsley. Had a really bad reaction to parsley. I've tried other stuff like curcumin, which is supposed to be great for inflammation. That one wrecked me. But I have been trying some Redmond salt, specifically that brand, because there's no plastic in it. So a couple of granules here or there, but I haven't made it too well with the spices. I'm tired of just chicken. Yeah, I miss my sweets too. Can I eat salt? That's what I was just saying. I'm trying like little dinky amounts of Redmond salt now and then. The way that I have to onboard foods and supplements, so anyone that's suffering from the same thing as me, no, don't worry about missing that. Anyone that's suffering like me from mast cell, the way I onboard things, the way that Beth taught me. I get emotional every time I talk about her because she's not here anymore. You open a capsule of whatever it is, or like parsley, right? I'll just take like, let me stick with a pill. So I'll open the capsule and I'll literally take like granules and drop it into my food. Just a couple granules, and then I can have reactions, just a couple granules. I can be out for the count for days just from that. But if you don't have a reaction, you wait 3 to 4 days, and then you take the same amount again. If you don't have a reaction, wait 3 or 4 days again, same amount. No reaction, then you up it. And then you keep upping the amount, and then when the amounts are increased, then you can so then when you upped your amounts, then you can start taking the food or supplement closer together. It's telling me that I have to do this puzzle thing or the live is going to end. I don't know what this is.
Yeah, it's just making sure that you're active because you have the green screen on. Because a lot of people use TikTok and they're asleep in the background getting free gifts, so they're just making sure that you're active. It's just an AI bot thing.
It just sucks because my hands don't work well, so I can't get the puzzle piece to go in the right place.
It was
So,
happening to me too.
my hands don't work, TikTok. Can you hear me? Oh, it turned off. Listen, I'm Phlox. Look at these hands. They don't work right. I got it. It was like the 10th try. I was so distracted. Okay. Whew. Anyone have any other questions?
Okay, back to, are we going to try and make some shakes for you?
Yeah, I mean, it needs to have extra stuff though, Grace. If it's the same thing, just different, it's still the same calories, still the
Yeah,
same
but you
food.
could sip it. You could sip it and maybe enjoy it a little bit more often and get more into you.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Ooh.
I'll have 40 pounds for you anytime you'd like them.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'm gonna have to go soon, guys, because I am whooped. This talking this much, I usually don't talk this much. I get all hot and tired, and I just want to see if anybody has any questions before I go. This is my first TikTok live, like really going into detail about my story. I hope it sheds some light. I love you, Reagan. My
I have a
stepdaughter's on.
question.
Yes, Allison.
So I'm gonna make a video for you, like well, for everyone, obviously. And I just wanted to kind of double check, like, if do you have like an example video that I could kind of see, so I make sure I get all the right information in it?
An example,
Or
like,
like just like telling people to sign the form, or are you gonna make any more, or does that make sense?
I can send you something. I'll send you
Okay.
something.
Yeah,
That's
I just want to be sure I do it really well and include all the information.
true. Thank you. So again, that's right. I should bring up the petition before I go. Send it to everybody you know, please. Please send the petition to everybody you know. All
Thank
right.
you.
Huh?
I said thank you.
No, thank you. So I just want to say before I go, because I'm exhausted, I love you all. Thank you so much for your love and support. As much as you're here for me, I'm going to be here for you too, fighting until my last breath, whenever that may be. I'm never going to give up. Even if I'm better, I am never going to give up. I'm never going to forget what happened to me or to all of you. It could have been avoided, and it's not fair. And I'll never stop fighting for this cause. I love you all. Thank you for your love and support. I say, thanks everybody in my video. Thanks everybody. Bye.
Good night, honey.
Good night.